Well, let's catch up with BeIN Sports' Ian Joy, who's live in Miami for us via Skype. Ian, what are you hearing about that?
Well, lads, the rumours are certainly flying already over here in the United States that obviously Stevie G is on his way over to the LA Galaxy. But don't rule out New York City yet. Both clubs, of course, the Red Bulls have lost Thierry Henry, so they need a big player. They need a big signing to be able to compete in Major League Soccer this season. So I would imagine that New York City, the New York Red Bulls and LA Galaxy will all be sniffing around Steven Gerrard right now, trying to outbid one another.
On the subject of New York, Ian, Frank Lampard and Manchester City have upset New York City. How badly?
Well, it's an interesting point, Richard. When you look at the US media, they have a habit of taking things out of proportion. I think that New York City Football Club is not necessarily as disappointed as the US public and the US media. They're going to town on this story. Of course, Frank Lampard's been outstanding for Manchester City, so it's very difficult to say that it's a bad move for Manchester City to make. Frank Lampard's already proven that he's keeping them in the title race in the Premier League, and he's given them a great opportunity to compete in the Champions League as well. So Frank Lampard is a key part of Manchester City's success. But New York City, with it being their first season in Major League Soccer, there has to be some disappointment. And I know for sure from within inside the club as well, they are disappointed, but they're going to get on with it regardless. They've got a great coach in charge, and he should do a fine job with or without Frank Lampard.
We've heard that you only have one opportunity in the US, Ian, to make a first impression, and Frank hasn't made a great one. But surely, when he finally arrives in New York, they'll greet him with open arms and welcome him, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, Frank Lampard, as we know from the Premiership days as a kid, everybody, you know, they said that Frank Lampard wasn't going to make the grade at the highest level. He wasn't going to make an England international, and he proved everybody wrong, as he has done throughout the whole course of his career with the move to Chelsea and, of course, to Manchester City, which surprised everybody. But again, I'm not so sure that Manchester City knew exactly where to put Frank Lampard when he came up to Manchester and trying to get into the first team. But he's turned a lot of heads already there. He's made a big difference, and that's exactly what he's going to do, Andy, when he gets to New York. Yeah. He's a terrific player. The one thing I do worry about is his age. He's almost going to be 37 by the time he pulls on that New York jersey. So it'll be interesting to see how he competes against the athleticism from a lot of the young players who are playing in Major League Soccer.
But the point, Ian, that Andy makes about the first impression is echoed by Grant Weil, no less, in Sports Illustrated, who's saying that New Yorkers don't easily forgive and forget. A lot of money's been spent on replica kits. A lot of season tickets have been bought. He is the blue-ribboned signing, or was, and they were expecting him to come in March. That hasn't pleased too many at all, has it?
Well, it certainly hasn't pleased the media, Richard. Of course, Grant Weil is a very well-respected journalist here in the United States, and I think that this article was probably written a little bit more with his heart than with his head, and understanding the whole prospect of Frank Lampard staying at Manchester City and being a difference maker towards the end of the season. Of course, New Yorkers are very stern fans. They love their football clubs, they love their NFL teams, they love their hockey teams and sports in general. And now Manchester City have given New York their own football club. It's not New York Red Bulls who are in New Jersey. This is a team that's in New York City. It's going to be in Manhattan and based where the heart of it all happens in New York. For sports fans in general, this is a terrific move. So they've got to be happy regardless if Frank Lampard's going to be there from minute one or not. But I think there is some disappointment regardless from the fans. They've bought their season tickets, they've already got Lampard jerseys, and he's not going to be playing in that first game. So me, myself, a journalist here in the United States now, I'm very disappointed he's not there from the start, but I understand why he personally would want to stay in Manchester and why Manchester City would want to keep him there.
It's raining in Manchester, and I have no idea. When you talk of Manhattan, I think, I have no idea myself why he wants to stay in Manchester. Ian Joy from BeIN Sports, live in Miami. Thank you for joining us. Ian, the son of Brian, Andy. There's an interesting story there, briefly. Brian, who was at Coventry. I think Coventry at the time had a choice between Kevin Keegan and Brian. One or the other.
Made a good choice. Who did they choose?
They went with Brian.
Well, I said they made a good choice.
Kevin went off to Scunthorpe United. If you're still with us, Ian, give our regards to your dad, Brian.
Yeah, please.